What's up, Interesting Enough family? Nolan here, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for tuning into us every single week as we give you the best content possible. However, I do have to ask you for one more thing. Come be a part of our family, and not just the Interesting Enough family, the Anchor family, and record a podcast yourself. It's so easy to do. Let me explain. First off, it's completely free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or phone. As a matter of fact, I'm doing it right now. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's right. Real money. Real money. It's everything you need to make a podcast, and it's all in one place. All you got to do is just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, welcome to Interesting Enough. He's Trey Samuel. I'm Nolan Todd. Got a very special episode for you guys today. We're going to keep this one light. Obviously, we're coming off the NBA Finals, so not our usual recording, not our usual drop, but tune in for this one. And, of course, keep tuning in to us regularly. Be dropping for you every Monday morning. Take a look out for that going forward. So, Trey, I'm happy to be back. It's been a while. We didn't talk since game 4. I think game 4, last time we talked with the finals. So, yeah, was it?
Yeah, it was game 4 because I remember I said, no. It was I think it was game 3 because I said, I expect Phoenix to win in 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I also picked Phoenix. So there's so much I want to get into at the finals. I mean, obviously, if you've been living under a rock, I don't know if you know, I don't know if I have to fill you in on this information, but Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks did end up winning the finals in 6 games. And Trey, before I even phrase any question to you, I just want to be honest. I want to be Giannis. I came on this pod today for one reason, and I was like, let's record. And you know what that reason is? I'll answer. I know you don't know what that reason is. I came here for my flowers. I came here for my flowers today, Trey. So however you want to send it, that's fine. And do you know why I came for my flowers? Again, I'll answer it for you. Do you remember when we started recording this podcast? And do you remember when we did a player list and the best players in the league? Do you remember who I said what the best player in the league was, Trey? Do you remember? Because I remember. I remember who I said was the best player in the league. And it was Giannis. Giannis, I said, was the best player in the league. And do you remember all the ridicule and all the
You
jokes?
did get some, but was that true last year?
All I know is, right now, I can admit what I have said stands the test of time. So
since we're gonna do this,
I'll take my flowers now. I'll take my flowers.
Is he the best player in the league right now? Because this is general. This is an honest question. Is he the best player? I don't want to. I still think I might get KD over him.
Okay, fine.
And then I will say this, and I'm gonna phrase it in this manner. That I'm gonna leave it alone because of course we had the finals to talk about. If it's a 7-game series, I'm not talking about the whole season. I'm not talking about the MVP award, but like the finals.
Okay.
I still think I'd take LeBron over him in this 7-game series.
I don't know, man. He just put up a 50-piece Chick-fil-A nugget. He just put up a 50-piece.
No. He's great. He's one of the all-time greats. Do not get it twisted. But I think the same thing can be said about LeBron and Durant.
Here's what I'll say. You know what? We'll probably get into this in a second.
Yeah, we'll do this in a separate podcast.
Valid, but what I will just say quickly, there was a lot of slander on this guy's name because he couldn't shoot jump shots or free throws, and people were literally acting like he wasn't top 5. That was a narrative that I never got behind, and I don't think you did either. But I'm just saying.
No, I never got behind that.
I'm saying we have both heard that. Like there was lists that have come out that I've heard Luka Doncic and Kawhi Leonard and Curry and Harden and Damian Lillard, whoever went before Giannis's name. Like. Just because he couldn't shoot. So anyway, we'll get into that. But Trey, I just want to say in a quick reaction to the finals, I was so excited to see it just because we were talking about ratings and stuff like that last time. So I wanted to throw it to you just real quick. From when we talked after game 3, what was, those games were not as exciting. But I gotta admit, those last few games of the series, what did you think about that from what we talked about, and then overall, and then what's your feelings about you know we'll get into Chris Paul in a minute, but I just really want to stick to Giannis just because of the great performance. What's your feelings overall? Did your opinion change? Kind of wanted to go in that direction.
Well, I still think it was a great series. Last time when we were talking about the viewership, I was just saying that I don't think Giannis is that kind of player like a Steph Curry or LeBron James or even a Kevin Durant that's just going to have people gravitate to the TV and watch. Not yet. If he goes to the finals again next year, he'll start to become more of a household name and people will start to gravitate to him, but just not yet.
But so you think it's because of the name or because of the game?
I think it's the name. I just don't think he's been on the scene long enough. I mean, he didn't go to high school here. He didn't come up in the college system. He didn't play for Duke. And then he happens to play in Milwaukee, which is no disrespect to Milwaukee, but it's not the Knicks, it's not the Lakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So he just hasn't really been ingratiated enough into this I guess NBA society, I would say. But I just want to stick with this. My main feelings about the finals is just they're the Giannis finals. Period. Like, I didn't know he was this good. And I know it kind of contradicts what I said earlier, but it doesn't, because I'm saying I think those other two guys are really great, but I didn't know Giannis was this good. And if somebody calls Giannis the best player in the league, I'm not going to argue with them because they have a valid point. And they're probably correct. Now, I'm saying that I also want to admit, I know we're going to get into it a little later, but I'm kind of disappointed in the Phoenix Suns. DeAndre Ayton in that last game, he didn't really look that great. Chris Paul,
hold that thought before you even do it, because I got some feelings on the Suns, and I know we're gonna get down that rabbit hole because I know how we get. So I just want to say something about Giannis.
Go ahead.
So in terms of Giannis, right? Yes, what you said is 100%. This is the Giannis finals. That was the Giannis game, right? Dropping a 50-piece, 17 for 19 from the free throw line. Nobody expected that. Even Giannis probably didn't even expect that. Let's be real, right? But here's what I will say. It shows you that you can still win a different way. This is still a tall man's league, right? You can still attack the basket. And let's be honest, Trey, what are we talking about? Maybe 2 years ago, if this same Giannis playing the Raptors, I do think this is a little bit of a different Giannis, clearly. I mean, everyone tries to build the wall against Giannis. Now, obviously, there's a difference between building the wall when you have Ibaka and Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam, and then when you have DeAndre and then Frank Kaminsky, right? I get that. But a lot of the stuff he was doing, if you're watching the game and maybe just being a basketball person, was kind of nuanced. I feel like 2 years ago, Giannis wasn't finding certain angles to score at the basket when that wall was built. 2 years ago, Giannis was definitely sometimes we know about him settling for the jumper. Like, we know about that. He literally and we hear it all the time on ESPN and whatever network. I mean, he just kept attacking the basket, Trey. Make or miss free throws.
But it's also interesting, though, because you have a valid point, but I want to give him his flowers. I really do. I don't want to sound like a hater. I don't want to come off like that. But it's also interesting because it's just I find myself trying to fight not to be a prisoner in the moment, because in this regards,
yeah,
Giannis was really close to being out in the second round. And I know it woulda, coulda, shoulda, but it didn't happen. But I'm just saying, we were talking about, does this thing get blown up? Does Mike Budenholzer get fired? Does Giannis think about maybe asking to leave? And now it didn't happen, but I'm just saying there's still a lot of holes in his games. And yes, I don't think he was quite this player he was 2 years ago, but I don't think that much has changed either.
Yeah, I mean, saying he was almost out in the second round, I mean, that's not – they were playing Brooklyn in the second round. Theoretically, they should have been playing them in the conference finals, but with that type of talent. But I just think – and again, I mean, in general with sports and all this in the media, we are prisoners of the moment in a lot of ways. I just think that Giannis is – obviously, how consistent I've been. I just think Giannis has always been this great, but I just think he took it to even another level to attack the basket and not – because we always knew the one thing. If he doesn't settle for jumpers, he can't really be stopped, right? And then the only thing that he can stop is himself by just missing free throws. So he got to the free throw line. Obviously, he's not going to shoot 88 or 89%, whatever it was, every game or for a season. That's not right. But
no, we don't expect him to.
But it was just the fact of even the games and the other games in the series when he was still missing free throws, it didn't stop him. The guy would airball 2 straight free throws and then still go attack the next possession, right? Like, that's literally like, that type of confidence is just like, I don't even care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so comfortable in who I am. And of course, we've heard his comments about his ego and pride. And he seems like in a really good mental spot. So I just think that the growth that he's had in this short time span, and I know like, he's still been great. He's put up great MVP numbers. I know there was voters fatigue and all that, but I just think it was different. But I mean, swinging to all the parts of the Bucks, I mean, he was obviously great, legendary performance. But I mean, let's talk about game 5. That's got to go down as the Jrue Holiday game when he's putting up, what was that, 29 and 13 or something, whatever the stats was. Don't nobody quote me. I'm wrong. I don't know. I didn't look up the stats, but whatever stats Jrue Holiday put up, obviously the biggest steal on Devin Booker, and we'll get to them, right here in a second. But and my boy, and I just thought about this again, Trey. Another set of flowers. Chris Middleton, Devin Booker. How many times have we had this conversation? How many times?
But I think they look the same to me. I mean, I know we're gonna get. They really did.
But remember, I've always said I didn't say that neither was better than the other. I said that they were about the same player. People were just like Devin Booker was better in this and that. I was like, no. I think Devin Booker has the potential to be clear. If this is somebody listening to this for the first time, I think Devin Booker has the potential to be better because he is younger. He's got a lot of tools that I think sometimes Middleton doesn't even have. But I just say currently, based on efficiency numbers, based on general numbers they put up, based on just the eye test watching the game, Middleton puts up the same numbers as Devin Booker, and I think they're just as good. And Middleton, and I will say one thing about Middleton that, and again, short sample size, just the finals. We're not going to be a president of the moment. Middleton had some tough games, but he came up and clutch in all those fourth quarters, Trey. He came up clutching all those fourth quarters.
I've been kind of tough. I've been tough on Middleton in the past, and I really do want to give him some props. But I mean, he kind of was what I thought he was in the finals as well. And what I mean by that is he's a really good player, but he's inconsistent. Sometimes he really does look like the all-star that he is, and then other times he looks like why is he on the floor? But
at the same time, Trey, think about it this way: whether his numbers are good or bad, even his numbers weren't great in Game 6. He still hit big shots in the fourth quarter. So it's like, at least you can count on him for that. We say he's inconsistent everywhere else, but at this point, there's enough of a sample size besides just the finals, this entire playoff run, that he's consistent in the fourth quarter when it matters. And that's what really counts at the end of the day. I hate to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what counts. I mean, I just knew in the past, Milwaukee, they didn't have him just to be there to be clutch in the fourth quarter. They had him to be really that second piece, that anchor to Giannis. But I mean, at the end of the day, they won the NBA Finals, so they did something right.
And if we talk about true inconsistency, Jrue Holiday is true inconsistency, not on the defensive end, but offensively. I mean, it just is hit or miss. But regardless, I mean, they got a championship. I was, obviously conflicted. I love Giannis and I love Chris Paul, but swinging to Chris Paul in that better terms. He had a lot better of a Game 6. But I mean, what's your overall feelings on the Suns? I mean, obviously, Chris Paul's, we don't know if he'll be back next year. Devin Booker had the two 40-point games, but he also got ripped at the end of Game 5. DeAndre Ayton was a shell of himself. Like, what is our overall thinking? Because we're talking about prisoners in the moment. And a part of me feels like we may have been a little bit prisoners in the moment of how good the Suns actually are. And then the finals, we actually got there and realized, like, oh, wait, they actually did kind of overachieve. Like, this isn't actually not like the greatest team ever or anything like that. So I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, I mean, my thoughts on it were the Suns. I kind of don't feel like they were the best team in the West, even though they won out. I think they played a hurt. Well, I know they played a hurt Lakers team and a hurt Clippers team. But at the end of the day, they showed up and they played when they need to play. They got to the finals and they were up 2-0, so I really thought they were going to win it kind of convincingly. Unfortunately, don't want to make an excuse, but like I said, in Game 4 and even a little bit in Game 5, it looked like Chris Paul just ran out of energy. Like, he really did look like a 36-year-old, 37-year-old player. And I think that was the real difference because Giannis was showing up. Mm-hmm. Devin Booker, he showed up some games, but that same talk we just had about Chris Middleton, it applies to Devin Booker. Some games he looks like that player that scored 70 points in Boston 3 years ago. And some games he looks like a rookie. Like, he just kind of inconsistent.
I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just don't think Phoenix, at the end of the day, they had that one player that they could lean on that was going to be like, okay, he's going to give us 30 or he's going to give us 10 assists, with 0 turnovers. They didn't have that one player just because of Chris Paul's age at this point. He looked like he was kind of just getting tired. Where Milwaukee, Giannis was always going to show up. I don't care, regardless who you put on him,
Yep.
What defense you threw at him, he was going to show up, and I think that really became the difference in those last 4 games.
And I mean, and you know, there's a lot of things that goes into it. One, I mean, let's be honest here, and I think I mentioned it before. I mean, Chris Paul's got to be more hurt than what we know because, and I can tell you that for a fact. I mean, Trey, we've grown up watching Chris Paul. He's never turned the ball over this much, whether he shoots bad or not, whatever's going on. Chris Paul is notoriously known for not turning the ball over, and for him to have the most turnovers in the finals, something doesn't add up to me. Something doesn't add up. And I know Drew Holiday was on him, and I know this and that, but he's faced other great defenders before, so that doesn't add up. When I see him standing around in the corner and watching Cameron Payne do work for multiple possessions, I kind of am like, what's going on here? 2, the Suns turned into the old Suns a little bit. It was just give Devin Booker the ball and kind of get out the way. And I think that was like not really a good thing. And Devin Booker's not necessarily, you know, a great playmaker at this point in his career. So it's kind of just get a bucket or that's it. And he makes, I mean, a bunch of tough shots. So don't get me wrong, but you can tell he's not as seasoned yet. But I mean, I think this would be a great experience for him, obviously, and going forward. But you know, Devin Booker, I think he's got such a high ceiling. So I'm really excited to see, you know, getting there this early. And then DeAndre Ayton, that's still the spot for me. I mean, look, he's doing what he can. He didn't have any depth behind him. He's guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, what are you going to do? But, I mean, he was just all those floaters and runners and stuff he was making all in the other rounds. He wasn't making them. That's all I know. And whether it's because of Brook Lopez or Giannis or PJ Tucker or whoever's in there, he wasn't making them. So, you know, the Suns, you know, had some issues, but I agree. I mean, they weren't the best team in the West, but they got there. The Heat weren't the best team in the East last year, but they got there. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good experience for those guys. So
no, and they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, they did what they're supposed to do. It's a good experience. I'm interested to see it, and I know we'll talk about it, you know, in the future here as we get into the offseason, what Chris Paul is going to do, what some of these guys are going to do in terms of just kind of moving forward, you know, to see if this team could hold together. Because obviously we'll do an outlook about, you know, what the East and the West is going to be looking like, but I mean, let's be honest here. We don't really expect just taking a blind look. I mean, we don't really expect the Suns to probably be back if everyone's healthy next year, unfortunately. And you know, it hurts, you know, because you feel for Chris Paul. That's a guy you just want to get a ring. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Giannis, you feel like is going to have multiple chances, but Chris Paul, this kind of felt like.
But I'm happy he got a shot. I'm happy he got a shot because I didn't think he was going to get a shot at the finals though. At one point,
That's true. This felt like, well, I can't even say. I mean, the Barkley thing, I mean, Barkley was kind of prime still. So, like, you can't really be like, it felt like Barkley, but, you know, Chris Paul, this really feels like, you know, this feels like the only thing here. So, I mean, my whole thing is, you know, coming on here, we're, you know, definitely talk about this. I'm just very interested to see what people think where Giannis ranks because I know we'll be prisoners of the moment. And I know we touched on it earlier, but I just don't see a situation where, I mean, I think Kevin Durant is the only player at this moment in time that you can say is a little bit better than Giannis. And also because they went head to head, that helps. And Kevin Durant was probably the better player in the series. I just don't think at this point you could say LeBron's, you know, the better, and not you, just anyone, just based on what we've seen.
I mean, my opinion is like I said, when it comes to LeBron, the only way I'm going to take him is if I'm talking about a 7-game series or maybe just the playoffs in general. But as far as encapsulating the whole season, no.
You still taking LeBron in the 7-game series? You taking him over Durant too?
I can hear the argument. You know, and again, I don't want to get too far in there, but I just leave it at that. I can hear the argument. But Durant,
all I know is, I don't know. That's tough.
We'll say the argument.
Yeah, that's tough.
We'll dig deeper in that one. But as far as Durant, I think you can make a legitimate argument that he's the best player regular season and playoffs combined.
Like this year, or are you saying like moving forward?
I'm talking about moving forward, but this year I'm gonna give it to Giannis, of course. But I'm just saying moving forward.
How about the league just changing real quick? I mean, this is becoming a big man's league again. I mean, when you look at Jokic and Embiid, I mean, these guys are at the top of the MVP race. Giannis, I mean, is just like a hybrid big per se. You know, this is becoming a big league now. And it's really like, I know we had these conversations about Trae Young and Luka before and like a lot of these guards, but, you know, you're going to need a big at some point.
But I'm not surprised. You know, the game of basketball is cyclical. And, I mean, at the end of the day, if I have a dominant big man, the other opposing team probably needs a dominant big man to guard my big man.
Right.
or he's just going to eat every single time. I mean, even the Lakers, if you watch them last year, they had a dominant big man, Anthony Davis. I know he doesn't look quite like Jokic or Embiid. He doesn't play like them, but he's a dominant big man. I think you at least agree on that. Is that correct?
AD being dominant?
He plays it differently, but he's still a dominant big man.
Okay, so I'm going to give you pushback here. I'm going to say no. Here's what I say. Because when I think dominant, I think relentless. And I don't think relentless with Anthony Davis. I think he just picks and chooses when he wants to be. Like, dominant is like, you know what dominant is? Like,
well, he was dominant last year when he needed to be. You're right.
So, yeah, I guess, maybe I should say it like that. Yeah. Because, like, how we always wanted Joel Embiid to be dominant, and then this year he was literally dominant the entire year.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you're dominant. Like, you got to be relentless every night.
You're right. That's a good pushback. Anthony Davis was dominant for that 3-month stretch he needed to be in the playoffs.
And I think he can be, for the record.
Yeah.
I think he can.
And I think what I'm getting at is, though, you need that to win. You need that to win the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
You need that kind of big man now.
I mean, I agree. I mean, you know, facing a guy like Giannis, I mean, the Suns, and you know, the Suns, that was always their Achilles heel, to be honest. I mean, they never had depth behind DeAndre Ayton all year. They got away with having the Saric thing. And then he got hurt. So they really never had a bunch of depth. So it just became even worse when he got hurt. And, you know, going back to the finals real quick, just the contrasting styles, you know, I also just think in general, you know, the Bucks just generally have a better roster, right? Like if we're just going top to bottom, like, I mean, the role players are just a lot better than the Suns. When you think about it. So, I mean, I guess it's not really surprising. The only thing I think it hurts, you know, legacy wise, if we talk about Chris Paul or whatever, you know, the 2-0 thing, Trey. I mean, you know, up 2-0 again. And that's 4 times in his career that he's been up 2-0 in playoff series. I mean, legacy-wise, real quick, I mean, what are we looking at Chris Paul legacy-wise? Because I'm a homer. That's my guy. But did he take a step back here legacy-wise?
No, I don't think he took a step back. I think the unfortunate part is, though, his legacy didn't really take a step forward either. I think it's just at a standstill. It's kind of the same things that we're asking.
So when he's at a standstill, we're talking like, is he even one of the 5 greatest point guards ever?
Oh, yeah, of course. I think he's number 3. I think I have Magic and Isaiah ahead of him. But, Curry. I mean, if you're going to put... Yeah. I think it's the way they play the game, too. So, Curry...
Because, I mean, just resume speaks, you know what I mean? Like that. At that point, you know, so it's like you got Curry, Isaiah, Oscar Robertson.
I think we'll have to get in a deeper debate for a different pod in that, because if you want to put Curry, then you can say Westbrook, but just the way those guys play the game now.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, I feel like you have to have traditional point guard, and then I guess
but then we can't break it up like that. Then it's kind of like, well, we can't do that. And then, I mean, I get the valid arguments are like, are you putting Allen Iverson as a point guard or a 2 guard? Like, are you doing like, I get
what
those
about Harden?
No, Harden's a 2 guard. I've stood by that forever. Harden's a 2 guard. I am not doing. First of all, you already know I am. I know basketball is really a positionless game, and they've only made positions. You know, those are just for novices. But I'm traditional. Like LeBron is small forward. Like I don't want to hear he's the best point guard. No, he's small forward. That's you know what? I'm being stubborn, and that's just what it is. I'll admit it. I'm being stubborn. I didn't even want to put Giannis as a power forward until maybe a year or so ago. I was hell bent that he would be a small forward and that he just played bigger. Then I had to accept it. Then I had to. Sometimes they try to put him at center. I mean, well, they play him at center, but I mean, I don't want to list him at center. I mean, what do you put Kevin Durant? I see that as power forward. You know what I'm saying? Like I see people put Jason Tatum as power forward. I think we're reaching now, but
I mean,
I don't know.
I you know what? That's just an interesting topic.
Yeah, like I don't.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, because I mean, that goes down. Something that we may not have to go down now, but I just that. So I don't know. That may be something to brainstorm on. Looking at Chris Paul's legacy, and I'm happy it was a great finals overall trade. That's really the main thing. I thought we got good basketball. We got 6 games. As a fan, and I'm pretty sure you agree with this. I mean, we all wanted to see Game 7, right? Like if we had a choice, Game 7 was the goal, and I wanted to see Chris Paul because imagine how exciting it would have been. But we got what we got, and I think you could at least agree, like we've talked about earlier. I know you wanted to see some star power, and I know you want to see your boy LeBron do all that. Well, you got to see your boy LeBron, Trey. He brought his tequila out, and he sat courtside. I don't know how he got a glass bottle indoors and into that arena, but That's your boy. But so you got to see him come in there. So I'm sure. Were you happy to see him?
I'm not even playing with you right now.
Were you happy to see your boy? LeBron didn't make the finals, but still find a way to go to the finals and lose. Like, I can't even make this stuff up, Trey. I can't even make this. This is your boy. This is your GOAT. This is your GOAT right here. This is your GOAT. So, again, Trey, I will take my flowers whenever. I don't have really a preference. You know, whatever you think looks nice. I'll take my flowers for the Chris Middleton, Devin Booker comparison. I will take my flowers for Giannis. It's up to you, Trey. I mean, do you have a specific favorite flower? I mean, what do you prefer here? Because
So did you finish or are you through?
I just want my flowers because all I know is when you're right, I have to hear about it for forever. I have to hear about it on the podcast, outside of the podcast.
Okay, back to my Birdman voice. Are you finished or are you through?
No, I'm finished. But I'm happy we got through that finals. But I'm so excited. We got a bunch of stuff on tap. Like I said, we dropping on Mondays here, so everybody can take a look. Trey, we got a bunch of different topics coming up the pipe. Obviously, we still got baseball going on. Trey, we haven't even hit about a bunch of football topics.
No, we haven't.
And off-season stuff. You actually probably by the next time we record, we'll see if Aaron Rodgers is in training camp. So we'll definitely get into some stuff and kind of get. Some people have been asking, can you talk about literally anything else besides basketball? So,
but I'll say this much before we head off. Basketball is over with, and then off season, we've already said we're going to discuss more topics. I mean, not just sports related, but cultural. We're going to bring up some more guests to talk about hip hop or music topics as well. And any other topics
our hip hop.
Come along the way.
People have been asking for that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to do that, and hopefully in the near future. So be on the lookout for that. But again, I just want to reiterate. We're going to start dropping consistently every Monday, so please be on the lookout. So not this Monday, but next Monday, we will start that.
Yes, next Monday, you get the first drop of your boy, and we will get right, and we will have more on tap for you. Again, let us always know, like Trey's always saying every week, we're taking comments, we're taking feedback. If there's anything you guys want to hear, let us know. Thank you for tuning in as usual. And Trey, I'll leave the final remarks to you.
Thank you guys for continuing to listen. Like you said, just give us any feedback you can. Peace.